Hi everybody, MJ here. Okay, so for this walkthrough, I'm going to be looking for a couple of different games that demonstrate different types of levels. So whether those levels have to do with getting something in one level to trigger the next level, if they increase in intensity, if there's something about getting through the levels to get to an ultimate goal. The most important thing is that I'm looking for different examples amongst the multitude of Scratch projects that are out there. And once I find them, I'm going to go ahead and enter them in this Scratch Studio here. So, to start us off, let's go back. Now I'm going to go ahead and search first off, just to start, game levels. Because what I want to do is I actually want to go ahead and see if these two words actually trigger a selection of different Scratch projects that I can already tell I have good levels for. Okay, so scrolling down, I'm going to look for one that piques my interest. And I'm a big fan of maze games. Okay, I'm also a big fan of the color red. And this one looks interesting, looking for food. Okay, so I pulled this up and it says, to move, use the arrows. If you touch the black line, you go back to the start of the level that you were on. Okay, so there's a challenge part of it. The aim of this game is to find all the food that the white dot needs for winter. Okay, so I see that white dot there, so let's go ahead and play. Now, I'm pressing the left arrow key and it's causing it to go left. So when I scroll up, or when I hit the up arrow, it also does the same thing. It goes in that direction. And I'm going to take it all the way over to this, looks like an orange right there. So it hits the orange. Oh, boom. Okay. And it triggered the next thing. Okay, so now it's telling me that I need to go find Cheesy Poofs. So we're going to do the same thing. So we'll go up and through the levels. And now we'll go down, up, to the side, down, and oh, it looks like I'm in a corner, and I actually just hit the black line, so I had to go back to the beginning. Okay, this is pretty cool. I really like this, actually. So in order to kind of get a better idea of how this works, let's go ahead and see inside. All right, so right off the bat, I see the kind of basic start to this, and I'm going to go ahead and click the green flag so we can go ahead and see the beginning again. Okay, so pretty typical. When the game starts, the backdrop switches, and then everything sort of starts over. So this little dot is going to go back to that spot, and then says all of these things for, 2 to 5 seconds. Now, in terms of how the levels actually happen, I see down here that when the dot is actually touching the orange, that causes the backdrop to switch to the next level. And you can see there's two different backdrops here. So there's level 1 and level 2. And then it's going to broadcast this message. So to be perfectly honest, it seems like those are the two main ways that this project goes about achieving that. It uses switch backdrop, which I see a little bit all over the place here. And then it also goes ahead and broadcasts message to trigger other events happening. And there's a lot of messages here that are being broadcast. So found the cheese, orange found well done, which I assume, well done happens whenever you finish a level. Found the cheese is the second level, and then orange found is obviously this first level because there's that orange there. So when it broadcasts those messages, if we go to the other two sprites, okay, so see, for example, for this orange, when you broadcast the message orange found, it's going to cause the orange to hide, and that's going to help transfer to the next level. Same thing with the Cheesy Poofs. When it receives the found the cheese message, it's also going to hide, and then that also is going to go ahead and switch, because when the backdrop switches, which actually, if you go down here, you see that at this point, the backdrop switches to level 2, that's going to cause the Cheesy Poofs to go ahead and appear. So it's using that different sense of disappear and appear to make the levels able to happen. And the nice thing about this is that if you wanted to, you could actually go on in and change things. If you wanted to make it a little bit more difficult, you could add more of an intense backdrop. It really depends on how you want to do this. But you could also keep adding levels depending on if you keep broadcasting those messages and picking up different backdrops. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and add this project to the studio. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and favorite this project. And then over at the Scratch Studio, I can go ahead and pop this up. And I'm going to go to My Favorites, and Looking for Food is there. So let me go ahead and add it. Okay, and boom, now it's in the level studio. Perfect. And you noticed that little green bar at the top that said project successfully added. That's also good to know in case you want to double check that you've actually done it. But you can see it right here. Okay, so now let's go back. Now for this next part, I think what I'm going to do is instead of just saying game level, I want to go ahead and search for something more specific. So let's go for 2 levels of difficulty. I'll search easy game level first and then hard game levels second. So we'll do that. Easy game levels. Okay, so you're trapped. Haunted Castle, choose between 3 levels of difficulty. Okay, see now this is interesting because you can actually choose different levels to go on. So use the arrow keys to go through the maze and reach the treasure. But be careful, if you touch the ghosts, you lose lives, and that's not all. You must also get through the maze in time, or else you'll get trapped in the castle. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. Okay, so we play. Now, I'm going to stick with easy for now. Oh my gosh, there are a lot of ghosts around here. Goodness gracious. Okay, so, oh shoot, I'm already losing lives. Oh my goodness, I got killed. Oh, wow, that was the easy level too. Let's go back and let's try one of the harder levels. Okay, so hard. Okay. Oh, that's not the right way. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Ooh, maybe I won't die. Oh, yes, I did die. Well, clearly you can see I'm not that good at playing games. Let's go ahead and let's choose and see inside. Okay, now, whoa, there is a lot going on here. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of different blocks happening in this project. And you see there's a lot of different sprites too, so a little bit different from the last project that we did. I'm going to actually go ahead and do something to make this a little bit easier to look at. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control and do cleanup. Okay, good. And now this makes it a lot easier for me to see everything because everything's sort of been organized. And then I can just like go from side to side and it'll introduce me to everything. Great. Okay, now, you know, clearly when we went to the beginning of this, we had pretty clear levels because when I hit play, you had the option of hitting easy, medium, or hard. That's a little bit different from the last project that we did. So if you go to the hard sprite for a second, you'll notice that there's a bunch of different messages that are broadcast. So broadcast start, hard, hide. So that must mean that that'll trigger certain actions to happen. And then, of course, it'll hide the actual sprite itself, hard, and then it'll switch the backdrop to maze, which if we go to the backdrops, you can see here that maze is this one. That was where, when we switched, that was what I actually had to try and go through, but unfortunately I didn't because I am terrible at games completely. Okay, so, and now the other thing is that you'll notice there's also a selection here of different receives and switching backdrops. So every time there's a reception of a message, a backdrop is indeed switched when it comes to the backdrop itself. Let's say that I selected this one instead, right here. Okay, so we still have these here. Now, the nice thing also about this is that the way that this is switched up, each of the different ghosts actually is doing the same thing, but they're receiving the same messages so that when those messages are received, they actually go ahead and hide, which ensures that you can actually go through and play the game. Now, this is a super interesting version of a game that distributes difficulty levels amongst an easy, medium, and hard sprite. And that's something that you can do if you want to go ahead and give the user the option of what they want to use. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go back, and we're going to just select this project. So I'm going to do, again, what I did for the last one. I'm going to favorite it. And then we'll go to the studio. Okay, add projects. My favorites. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So we'll add. Okay, so the Haunted Castle is in there now. Perfect. All right, now last but not least, the last one that I want to look for, let's look for a really hard game level. But let's also, I'm going to put the word fighter in there and see what comes up. Okay, the Ultimate Fighter. This one looks cool. Let's go ahead and try this one. Okay, so there's easy, medium, hard. So again, we have the different selection of levels here. So let's go ahead and try this one out. Wow, this is really cool. Okay, so it looks like I would go ahead and select up here which level I want. So we'll go with medium. Oh, I see. Okay, so in order to actually go ahead and go through this, what I have to do is I have to press the 2 key for the player 2 mode and the 1 key for the player 1 mode. I seem to be in the 1 player mode right now, and then I fire with the left arrow key and then go from there. So let's go ahead and try it again. Okay, so we'll do easy this time. Okay, so I can actually go ahead and do fireballs at the fireballs that are coming at me, and then slowly get rid of them. Whereas if I were to click medium, they're going a lot faster. Awesome, I really actually like this game. Pretty simple, but definitely effective. Okay, so let's go ahead and see inside. All right, so for this one, again, we have easy, medium, and hard sprites. And so what happens is that each of those different things broadcast different messages, and then that's going to cause different things to take place. So for example, with easy, it's going to broadcast this easy message when that sprite clicked. And then if you go to the fireballs here, which I assume that these are the 3 fireballs, when the fireball receives this easy message, this is how fast it's going to go. All right. But if it were to receive something like hard, it would probably go a lot faster. And it looks like the same for these other fireballs as well. Cool. Okay. So basically, the impression that I'm getting from a lot of these games is that it's really good to be able to have different levels because you give people different options. And instead of just going through and having someone try to beat one level at a time, you can let them choose what it is that they actually want to do. All right, we'll add this last one to our studio. There it is. And boom, there you go. Great levels, great examples of games that use levels. So try and find some other projects because there's a lot of very amazing projects out there that use different levels and can definitely give you some cool ideas.